let's speak about cardio. What are the benefits for health, for body composition, maybe even for strength gains? And if you stay until the end, you will get answers to the most common questions as how to use it for losing body fat, when to use it, what type of cardio you want to use, and maybe even if you should do the fasted cardio or not. But before we start, who am I? My name is Daniel Weiss and I'm a nutrition and lifestyle coach, and I help people, and especially athletes, to improve their health, energy and performance. I create content such as this video and I publish it on my website danweiss.eu. And I also create content for Spartan Slovakia, so you can know me maybe from there, but also from other media. So let's go ahead. So what are the actually benefits of cardio? What is cardio actually? Cardio is basically any kind of activity that increases your heart rate, or how much you exchange oxygen in your body. So if you start exercising, you start jumping, your demands for oxygen increase. So basically you are exercising your lungs and your heart. It has many benefits, from increasing your insulin sensitivity through which is part of the metabolic health, through increasing your mental health or improving mental health, even certain health conditions. The very least, it can just improve your mood in a short perspective, from the short perspective period. It improves your heart health, which is very important, especially when heart stroke rates are increasing year to year. It can make you feel good and energetic. Maybe, after some exercise, after some class, you have this boost of endorphins and you really feel good. So that's what we are talking about here. Last but not least, it helps you with your physical fitness. So the more fit you get, the more cardio or other exercises you can do. And it has also social aspects tied to it. All these running groups, maybe friends that you made and started exercising with. And you can do that while doing cardio. So there is a major benefit in this. So the question is how much cardio you should do if you are just after your general fitness, right? If you just want to stay healthy, you don't want to necessarily run a marathon or compete in Ironman. And that's a really good question, because as with many things, the benefits are dose dependent. So when you start exercising, or before you start exercising, and let's say you are very sedentary, very unfit, then you know that you might have higher blood pressure, and also your resting heart rate would be pretty high. Actually, resting heart rate is one of the metrics that is used in determining your health or heart health. So as you start exercising, you start moving more, you are getting fitter, your blood pressure, systolic and diastolic, both decrease, your resting heart rate will go down. So basically your heart is able to pump more blood into your veins with each stroke. So you are actually saving your heart and saving the work it needs to do. And as you keep increasing your activity and intensity of the activity, you reach that level when it peaks. And from some studies, they show that the maximal response is at moderate amounts, and that is about 85% of your maximal heart rate kind of training for 300 minutes a week. For just basic idea, what is your maximal heart rate? That is when you take 220 minus your age, and that gives your maximum heart rate. then you take 85% of that, and this, if you do the training at that heart rate for about 300 minutes a week, you will reap the maximum benefits. That's kind of endurance training anyway. And if you continue maybe increasing the intensity or increasing the volume of the training, so extending, maybe instead of 300 minutes doing 450 or even 600 minutes and more, you will not get much more benefit. Actually, you will start losing your, not fitness, but your health, just because you can run marathons or elite marathon runner doesn't mean that they are healthy. Actually, we see in some cases that it can have detrimental effects on heart health. So the relationship is quite clear that when you start, you are somewhere here. As you are improving or increasing activity, you are improving, but then again, your health outcomes start to downregulate or getting worse. So, as with anything, dose makes the poison. Now, the most interesting question that many people have, like, what should I do, or how should I incorporate cardio if I want to lose weight or improve my body composition, how to look better? Because I see that many people, as their first thing when they want to lose weight and improve their body composition, maybe even feel more energetic, is that they start to do running or maybe cycling. Why is that? It's probably because it's very affordable and there are like very low barriers to enter. However, is it like the best thing you can do? Definitely not. As we can see from some studies, then if you just want to lose weight, yes, cardio is the best, but cardio doesn't help you to preserve and build body mass, lean body mass. We are speaking muscles, which are essential thing from the long-term perspective. So strength training has better outcomes when it comes to that, although it doesn't necessarily burn as many calories per minute of activity. But for your best health outcomes, not only health outcomes, but also if you the only thing you would care about would be how you look, then you want to combine. You want to do some cardio and you want to do also some strength training or resistance training. And actually what just depends or what just changes depending on your goals would be how much of which activity you do. And we will talk about this later. So when we want to speak about body composition, the important thing is to understand that the activity itself drives the adaptation. So if you would do like endurance training, you are teaching your body actually to preserve energy, because endurance training is for the extended period of time, while strength training or some kind of explosive exercises, it can be even sprinting, it teaches your body to flush that energy out. You want to expend as much energy through a short period of time. So that's actually the opposite adaptation. And I don't want to say that you should do only sprinting, only that high intensity training, or only the low intensity. There is always a combination of both that is the most beneficial, and we will talk about this actually a little bit later. The main point here is to do strength training and aerobic exercise or cardio in combination, and this will give you the most results. This is the most ideal thing. Okay, so here we are speaking light intensity steady state cardio or high intensity steady state cardio, because there is also this claim that high intensity creates so-called afterburn effect, which burns more calories than low intensity. So if you don't know the afterburn effect, what they speak about is that if you do like very high intensity of exercise, maybe some circuit training or something like that, if you have ever done it, you know that then you are out of breath and you are catching with your breath, maybe even for several minutes. And you are in oxygen death. And you need to create or get more energy when you are expending more energy even after you have finished that exercise. But studies or this claim is misleading. So if you think that you burn much more calories throughout the day after this 10 or 15 minutes of high intensity exercise, you are wrong. Or you would be wrong. Actually, the afterburn effect depends on many factors, not only like the intensity, but for example, if you run a half marathon, you are creating more afterburn than after 10 minutes of high intensity exercise or high intensity cardio. So this is also something to keep in mind. But really, the difference is really small. So there are benefits and also some downsides to both high intensity training and low intensity training. So high intensity needs to be really hard first and foremost, and this is what many people, especially if you don't have good enough fitness level, getting or accumulating enough of that high intensity can be really hard. And if you are detrained, if your fitness level is really low, then it will take you a lot of time to recover from. And even if you are fit, you are able to push yourself harder, so you can go deeper into your energy and expend more energy, and you create also even more demand for recovery. So it can be used. I think it also should be used, but the dose of high intensity should be managed. That means you want to do it maybe once or twice a week. And then the most of your cardio should come from low intensity steady state, because we have a very high tolerance for it, and you are actively burning these calories. The problem nowadays when it comes to body composition is that we are really inactive and we don't have enough of this low intensity throughout our days. We are not expending enough energy, and it's very, very easy to get energy from food in high amounts, because food is very easily accessible, available. We don't need to go hunt and pick berries or anything like that anymore. If you are watching this video, anyway, that's the case. Another important difference between light intensity and high intensity is that this high intensity type of trainings make you really tired, and you might think that because you are so tired, you must have expended a lot of energy. And that is not true. The energy expended is not equal to the perceived fatigue. So if you think that you do this 10 minutes, 15 minutes of really high intensity exercise, and now you can have your favorite pizza, you will not be losing weight, because that pizza can have easily 1000 calories, and that 10-15 minutes of sweat drenching hard exercise, after when you finish it you are just lying in your sweat on the ground, and you know that you have just effectively burned 150 calories. but you feel like you have burned 1000. So there is really a big discrepancy between what you feel and what is the reality. On the other hand, light intensity steady state cardio can be burning, let's say, just 70, 90 calories per minute of activity, or that would be a lot. Let me correct myself. You would be burning maybe like 200 or 300 calories per hour of activity, but you can be doing it like all day long without feeling really tired, right? It actually can also help you with recovery. And here is another popular comparison, like when it comes to high intensity or low intensity training, specifically when it comes to cardio, is a comparison between a sprinter and a marathon runner. So we know that image of sprinter who is jacked, he's ripped, he has sculpted body, very muscular, while marathon runner looks really drained and have no muscle at all. Well, just keep in mind that if you do cardio and you are not top-notch athlete or top-level athlete, you will not look neither like that top-level marathoner and neither like that top-level sprinter. Just keep that in mind. So there is some truth to this, and the truth is actually that what I said, activity drives adaptation. So if you do this, if you would do only low intensity in excessive amounts, actually it's not low intensity. Marathon runners don't do only low intensity. It would be like also a lot of medium intensity. They are teaching their body to preserve that energy. They are also losing muscle effectively, and that activity just drives your body to keep the muscle that you need, And during a marathon or endurance sports, muscles are just excessive body weight that you need to carry. It doesn't help you. While for sprinting, you want to have, or having more muscle is not in detriment, because the intensity is very high and you need that muscle for that intensity, and it's very, very short, like we are speaking 10 seconds and less. So during that time, that mass that you are carrying doesn't play a role there. So just keep that in mind. Besides that, if you want to be healthy marathoner, you should also do some strength training, and sprinters definitely do a lot of strength training, resistance training with really heavy weights. So it's not only cardio. Okay, so how we can use that in weight loss? As I mentioned previously, you can be just doing low intensity or maybe some higher intensity, and anywhere in between, a mix of all of those things. So when we think about this, for example, running or your typical cardio, running, cycling, swimming, skipping rope, per minute, from all these from all the kind of exercises that you can do, then cardio like running and skipping rope burns the most calories per minute. So it's the most effective. During 1 hour of such exercise, you can burn about 600 calories. While maybe in an hour in gym, you burn 400. You have a lot of rest there. So if your only concern would be burning calories, then that kind of steady state cardiovascular training would be your best bet. But as we spoke about, when we look at it from the perspective of body adaptations, You don't want to do only cardio. So what is another concern, like when you do running, cycling, swimming, if you want to do these kind of activities, you still need to dedicate some time to it, right? It's not like I will go for a 10-minute run and that's enough. It can make also some people more hungry. So the results from the research are pretty mixed, but we know that some people can get more hungry after that kind of exercise, but not all. So this is something to consider. It also requires some equipment like shoes or bicycle or skipping rope, but these are very accessible things. And when it comes to running specifically, most people don't know how to run properly and they get injured. And I'm not speaking about running 1 kilometer or 1 kilometer a day. It's like when they start running and start running more and more, if the technique is not good, if they don't pay attention to how they run actually, then they will create some overuse injuries. On contrary, like when we talk about walking is a very light intensity. You can do it anytime and you can do a really lot of it. It's very restorative. It can help you relax not only your mind but also help you relax your body and also relax your you can use walking in between sets, for example, during exercise. It can be more effective by adding weight. So maybe you can use weighted vest or rucksack that is loaded with some weight, or by increasing incline. So yeah, if you go uphill, you know that it's harder than walking on a flat ground. And it doesn't require any special equipment. So here is actually one simple and interesting thing, which is cardio compensation. And as you can see at these graphics, like during the day, if you think that you would do like this 1 hour run and expend 600 calories and that, you know, that would be 600 more than you would normally, you might be actually wrong, because anytime you do certain activity, such as for example running, you are doing it in expense of something else. So the question is, what is it in expense of, or what we are comparing it to? If you do this running instead of walking, the difference in energy expenditure is only about 300 calories. Well, only, quote unquote. While if we compared it to sitting, it would be 550 calories difference. So this is something to keep in mind. And when we speak about practicality, we see that we have, or our body has an ability to compensate for our energy expenditure actually. And this seems to be, or this compensatory threshold seems to be at about 500 calories of active exercise. So during that 1 hour run, if you did work equal to about, let's say, 600, or well, about that 500 calories, what happens is that you might mistakenly think that it's 600 more throughout the day and I can eat 600 more that day. And if you are not losing weight, well, this is why. Reality is that compensatory or this energy compensation is throughout your day. So on one side you do a lot of activity during that one exercise, on the other side you are down regulating your activity throughout your day, and this is the kind of activity that you are not even aware of. That means the kind of like easy body movements or general movement of how much you move throughout the day. And this is called actually NEAT, or non-exercise activity thermogenesis, and this creates the most energy expenditure besides our basal metabolic rate. So actually the exercise itself doesn't create much energy expenditure, and therefore it should not be used as a primary factor or driver to create energy deficit, but rather diet. Exercise, as we touched on this topic previously, is to create specific adaptations. You want to improve your health, you want to improve your fitness level, you want to feel energetic and be healthy human being. Perfect. You should not use it as a primary driver to burn calories. Now, another popular question: fasted cardio burns more calories. So should I do fasted cardio exclusively? Would it be better for my body composition? Would I lose more weight? Well, the thinking here is the body we burn more fat during fasted cardio, which is true, and therefore we should lose more weight. But once again, if you are just burning, let's say, exclusively fat, or you wanted to burn exclusively fat, then the best thing for that is sleeping. And we know that during the sleep, while you might be burning like 99% of calories coming from fat, you are not burning many calories overall. Does that make sense? So your first and foremost goal is just expending more energy. And we see from the studies and from some research that actually when you are in a fed state, so after a meal, maybe not if you do exercise not before your breakfast, but maybe later in the day, with the same kind of exercise you burn more calories, and that is because you have more energy, you feel more energetic, and therefore you can do or expend more energy. That is how it works. Of course, with some training you get adjusted to it, you improve, but again, you would also get adjusted and improved if you'd have done it in the afternoon hours. So if you really want to optimize, I would say, then yeah, there is a benefit in doing some fasted cardio, but not like exclusively and religiously. You can also have, again, drive negative adaptations and cause more damage than benefit. But if you are not doing crazy amounts of cardio, if you just do like light jog and very light activity, walking is a great example. Just take this walk, inclined walking, it's very light, it spikes your heart rate, it burns your calories. Go for a morning walk, get this like activity, or maybe a jog. That is the perfect exercise for light activity, or even biking. Now let's speak a little bit about like how you can use cardio and what's the benefit of cardio when it comes to muscle gain or weight gain. Well, cardio can reduce your caloric surplus. So when you are building muscles, you want to get into at least a slight caloric surplus. We are speaking 100 to 300 calories a day. And some people can overeat, especially if they don't measure how much they eat, and therefore including some cardio together with strength training can help you eat more, let's say 500 calories more, but offset that caloric surplus by including more cardio. And if this is specifically that low intensity, like some walking, let's say half an hour walking, it creates this maybe 150, 200 calories from that surplus, and it just helps you with eating more. Don't do the mistake of doing, like, let's say, very high intensity exercise or a lot of cardio, like a lot of running, rowing, or whatever, because it can make you hungry and then your body will compensate. So it's not like, yeah, I will just expend more calories, more and more and more, and yeah, my body will not catch up. Well, it will not, unless you are like endurance athlete who does like 20, 30, or even more hours of cardio training a week. Besides that, cardio can help you by improving your general fitness. When you are fit, you don't need as much rest, for example, in between sets when you are doing your weight training, or so you recover better in between sets, but you also recover better and faster in between sessions. And just being active helps you to move your blood, flush your body, flush your muscle, and helps you with muscle recovery in that way. Because we have nutrients in our bloodstream, so getting a little bit of more movement helps to deliver more nutrients to these muscles. Now the concern is that, well, if I do cardio, will I build muscle? Or will I build it as effectively? We know that yes, you can definitely build muscle while doing even endurance exercise. When we are not speak, endurance exercise is not just light activity cardio. But if your primary goal is building muscle and building strength, then you might want to limit cardio. This is specifically for people like maybe for runners who already have 5 hours and more of endurance training a week. So generally speaking, that's what I've seen in research, like there is this cutoff at about 5 hours, but going even lower might be beneficial. If you do cardio, and specifically in that case endurance training in combination with strength training, and you want to increase your strength and build muscle, then the best advice is to separate this endurance training session and strength training session by at least 6 hours apart. If you cannot, if you would do it in the same session, then first focus on what is more important for you. In that case, this is the strength training. And the best way would be to do it on a separate days. So one day strength training, another day endurance training. And when it comes to the type of cardio, again, the best way is something that is low impact. Low impact means that you are not stressing or actually putting excess damage on your muscle, again, because you are already doing this through strength and resistance exercise. So just keep in mind that maybe you want to do like cycling or swimming, which are much more gentle. They don't create this impact from running, from hitting the pavement as you would during the running. So to wrap up all of these things that we just mentioned and to make a summary, if you are just here for general fitness, you want to feel healthy, you like to do maybe some jogging, you like cycling and so on, by any means do it. Do cardio anytime it suits you. If it's fasted, not fasted, like before work, do it anytime. If you don't have like any specific marathon goals or you are not training for bodybuilding competition or strongman or whatever, uh, this is the video for you, right? This is the advice for you. Do that, do anytime it fits you. The most important thing is to just like staying consistent, being active, and do anytime any type of activity that allow you to stick with it. And you can also change it throughout life, right? For a fun fact about me is that I liked to do a lot of cardio in form of dancing. So I went to Zumba classes. I used to do like specifically drum and bass step. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Only later in my life I started running. The bare minimum of that exercise that you want to do light intensity is 150 minutes a week, which is, I think, very easily achievable, especially when we think that it is walking. If you do higher intensity exercise, you don't need to do as much, but for, let's say, optimal health, it seems like about this 300 minutes a week at about 85% of your maximum heart rate is a good point to shoot for. And last but not least, don't rely on what your fitness watch shows you if you want to lose weight, because your body will adapt. In the beginning, you might be burning 600 calories during that 1 hour of running, but as your body adapts, it gets more efficient with that kind of movement, with that kind of training. You will burn only about, let's say, 450 calories. But now if you think that, I just burned 600 calories according to my watch, so I can eat 550 and still lose weight. But actually you, in reality, have burned only 450, then you get into 100 calorie surplus. Over time, this will or can add up. So that's something to be mindful. Don't rely on watch, don't rely especially on the system or fitness equipment that shows you like how much calories you burn. These are different things. There are like many different things, like for example also this compensatory effect that we spoke about, that get into all this equation. Then different types of cardio affect different people differently. So it can get really complicated, and that is why just simple calories in, calories out don't make sense for many people, because we are not aware of all these variables. Anyway, if you have any kind of questions and comments, then you can reach me out through my website, which is danweiss.eu. That is Dan, WEISS.eu. And I will be eagerly awaiting your questions. If you need some personal attention, personal help with figuring out how to eat, how much to eat, when to eat, so you optimize your health, energy performance, body composition, then feel free to reach me out. And I have a free intake call. It's a strategy call during which I will focus on assisting you over the 30 minutes. It's not a sales call, but I'm here to really help you with whatever you need help with. Links can be found down in the comments. If you like this, then rate it, share, subscribe for more, and I will see you in the next video or hear you in the next podcast episode. You have a great day.